Hello, I'm Keith Hilson.
And I'm Alex.
And we are both with the Schmidt Music Trombone Shop, and we're back with another accessory review for you today. And today we've got a project that we have been working on getting into the shop for a while. Took a little bit of work, but we got it to happen, specifically the Rejano practice mute. So you may have seen these all over, trombone, social media. This is a project that David Rejano has been working on with his team. We'll talk more about David Rejano and all the work that he does out in LA. But these have been kind of the hottest practice mute on the market right now. We'd heard really great things. We didn't have a chance to spend time with them until now. We're super excited to talk about them. So we're going to be playing these today for you so you can hear them in action. Hopefully you won't hear a lot. That's the whole goal. We'll talk about that. And so then we'll talk about afterwards. Today we're going to be playing on Lake City Prototype tenor and bass trombones. Like I mentioned at the beginning, the Rejano mutes have been the hottest practice mute on the market for the last 6-9 months. We started hearing rumors about them even earlier last year, but it was around September, October that David Rejano, who again is the principal trombonist of the LA Philharmonic, does a ton of solo work. Hey, I saw him at ITF 2019 in Indiana, and he absolutely destroyed. It was awesome. And so this is a project he's been working on for a while, specifically 3D printed practice mutes. So what makes the Rejano mutes so unique is that, well, first off, they are 3D printed. The entire thing, the cork, the mute, everything is all 3D printed, which makes them extremely light. So this is the tenor. Alex, of course, was playing bass. Mm-hmm. And even they're just holding them, they're ridiculously light. The closest thing to them, just in terms of weight, are the Bremner mutes. And these are lighter than that by a fair.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it was in the bell, and it's a bass mute. So
yeah. So so that's part of it. But of course, just like any mute, it's what is the performance like, and that's where these really, really blew us away. Hopefully, it came through on the recording how much quieter these are.
We actually had to bump up the mic a little bit too because it was too quiet for the mic to pick up anything.
We were literally just getting more background noise than the actual practice mutes. And so, they are extremely quiet. I've been play testing them out in our warehouse facility, 3 feet away from people, and I've had them turn around and say, "Were you even playing just now?"
Yeah, it's pretty impressive how quiet it was, and trying to hear the duet part with them is a challenge.
It really was. I was sitting there, I was listening more to Alex's breathing and paying attention to his slide to figure out if we were actually together because there just was not any feedback, which is awesome. And then, of course, the flip side is how they play, what the response is like. The big challenge, we always talk about with practice mutes is that in order to attenuate the volume that much, well, you've got to be changing the airflow. There's a resistance factor to it. And I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, I think these do as good a job, if maybe not the best job, of any practice mute I've played as far as balancing that. They are extremely, at least on tenor, it was extremely free flowing. There was a touch of resistance, but it was extremely minimal. How was it on bass?
Yeah, on bass it feels very full. It's not hard to play the low notes at all, which is something that I find a lot of practice mutes on bass have an issue with in the low register, where those pedal notes just aren't popping the way they usually do. It makes it very easy to play in all kinds of different registers, and it feels like it would play. It feels like it would to play it the way it plays when you take the mute out.
Yeah, I was looking. You were doing some stuff. I mean, you were doing just before the video, doing some stuff, getting all the way down into the pedal register, trigger register. It sounded from my end extremely responsive. Likewise, on the upper register, on the tenor, for example, still very, very free blowing. Some of the stuff we were doing, with any of this Baroque stuff, like this Bach 2-part invention, when you have to have these, these larger, perfect fifths or even octave leaps, etc. Sometimes practice mutes really fight you on that. These have felt like I didn't have to change anything that I was doing and how I was playing. I was thinking musically exactly the same. I didn't have to adjust at all for them. And intonation is fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big thing is when you do take it back on the mute, or on the instrument. Often a problem is that the pitch is a little bit flatter, a little bit sharp, and it's so much easier to get back into the mindset of like, okay, now I'm listening to be in tune with everyone else. So
Yeah, it felt natural. Again, like, so often we get this, I always call it this intonation squashing with practice mutes. Frankly, a lot of mutes that the upper or the lower register tends to be a little bit on the sharp side. Upper register tends to be on a little bit of flat side. I mean, I think if you got into the real extreme registers, as I was getting up into like the 10th, 11th, 12th partial, boy, I could feel maybe a real subtle difference in that, but it was almost negligible. It really, really was. So unbelievably cool mutes. And the really great thing is the Rejano mutes, they've got them priced really affordably as well. They are very much in line price-wise with all of the other practice mute options out there. We talked about 3D printing. They feel extremely durable. Compared to, there's a few fiber mute options out there, which I think play really well, but they feel just a little bit thin. These feel tough, durable. The cork even is really interesting. I'm not even 100% sure what material they're using, but it does have a little bit of a give. I will say the one thing I noticed, with this is because of the contour of the mute here, they do tend to fit in pretty snugly inside the bell flare. I've experienced this. I did this on alto. And by the way, we should mention that they have obviously bass, they have tenor. They do have actually just a brand new alto mute that we got in as well. The alto mute played wonderfully as well. With that, I felt like there was a titch more resistance than maybe on tenor or like Alex described in bass, but it's really, really subtle. All the same intonation, positives were there with it. I mean, there really isn't much on the market at all for alto trombone practice mutes. And I thought it played beautifully. So they're all awesome. But like I said, they do tend to fit a little bit snugly. So I do think we haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time dealing with larger bells. Although I will say, for example, with our Lake City prototype, the first one we tried just to try something was a 10-inch bell. And it seemed like that fit just fine. Did you have any issue getting it out?
I didn't have any issue getting it out. It takes a little bit of grip because of the material,
Mm-hmm.
but as soon as you get it turning, it does come out fairly easily. So
Yeah, and so I would say if you have an instrument with a wider bell flare, something that really opens up, it may be close. I think there's a good chance it'll work there, but I could see because of the tolerances, it might be a really, really snug fit with that. And because of the profile, I would say, some folks always ask, well, is it transportable? Can I keep it in the case, with my instrument? I think it would depend on the case. It would be close. Even though it does fit snugly, it does have this dome here as well. So I don't know how well it's not going to fit in there. Obviously, like the best brass or the ProTech Liberty practice mute, which really does fit all the way inside the flare of the bell. It's not quite that snug, but again, depending on your case, I think it may well fit. It definitely has a much smaller profile than, for example, the Schmute, which again, I love the Schmutes, but they are a little bit larger, a little bit, if you think about this, a little more front heavy as well. So a few things to think about, but I mean, as far as I can tell, I mean, in my experience, I think Alto's experience, there are no downsides with these mutes. They're crazy.
They come in a lot of colors too. That's one feature we didn't mention. There's pink. There's all kinds of different colors.
Yeah, but 7 or 8 different colors. They have pink, orange, white, blue, red, purple. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're great. If you're into that kind of thing, they've got an iridescent look. I like that even the stem plug there is the same color as it. There's so nice little touch from the Rejano team. But they're awesome. Again, I think they're really, really cool. And as a quick side note, I think we may be one of the first shops in the country to be carrying them, which I think is really cool. Yeah. We're glad to be able to have the chance to work on this. We had a chance actually to chat with Mr. Rejano a little bit about them. So they're great. I'm really glad that he and the Rejano Mute team had a chance to put these on the market. I think they're a wonderful addition to our toolbox. We're always in the, as musicians, we're always looking for the right tools. I think these are a wonderful addition to the toolbox. And keep an eye out. I've heard some rumors about some additional mute projects coming down the road from them as well. So we may have more coming along as well. But as always, we hope you enjoyed this video here. If you haven't had the chance already, check out some of the other videos on our channel. Think about giving this video a thumbs up. Think about subscribing to our channel so you can find out when we've got new videos coming out that are hopefully helpful, informative to you. And of course, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. So again, on behalf of Keith
and Alex,
thank you very much for watching.